Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 104, The Mystery Menace. The episode begins with Ash and the gang walking through the desert just like they were at the end of last episode, and this walk is making Ash immensely hungry as he requests that they stop and get something to eat, though only adding if Misty and Tracy were hungry as well. Unfortunately for Ash though, Misty and Tracy were seemingly not as hungry, as Misty simply sighs in response at Ash's desperation. However, luckily for Ash, regardless of Misty and Tracy's hunger, Tracy spots a town in the distance. He looks on in amazement and instructs for Ash and Misty to look too, as he informs them that it is Travitatopolis, the largest city on Mandarin Island South. Meanwhile, as for Team Rocket, they were currently spying on Ash and the gang from behind a nearby rock, and they went over their plan to capture Pikachu, which was essentially to dig a hole and plant a whole bunch of dynamite underground, and this dynamite would cause Pikachu to fall into the hole. Wow, what a tremendous plan. A whole plan. It's never failed them before. Jesse and James excitedly do their motto, proudly stating their plan, but Meowth quickly reminds them that Ash and the gang were right fucking there. They shouldn't be super loud. So he stops Team Rocket from doing their motto by hitting them, and James proceeds to go ahead with the plan, pushing the button to activate the dynamite. However, they had mistakenly still been standing over the hole where they placed the dynamite, so when the dynamite explodes, they just end up falling into a hole, screaming, instead of Ash and the gang. Ash and the gang do hear Team Rocket's screams though, and they immediately go and check it out as soon as they arrive in the city. But before they can find the source of the screams, Team Rocket's plan actually does unintentionally work, as the explosion that they administered caused a whole bunch of aftershocks, and one of these aftershocks causes Ash and the gang to fall underground as well, into a different hole. Ash and Misty are woken up underground by Pikachu and Togepi, and when they get up, they immediately help out Tracy, who somehow got his head stuck in a whole bunch of the rocks underground. Ash and the gang then follow a tunnel, and it takes them to the city's underground sewer. They decide to look for a way out, particularly a manhole cover at the ceiling of the sewer. Strange things then begin happening, as Ash hears the sound of bells coming from seemingly nowhere, and then he feels something tap on his shoulder. He assumes that this was Pikachu or something, and he tells him to stop, but Pikachu's like, "Yo, what are you talking about? It ain't me, man." Ash feels the thing tap on his shoulder yet again, so he looks behind him and sees nothing. He then looks ahead, and he sees that Tracy and Misty have very frightened looks on their faces. This causes him to look back yet again, and he finally sees what has been tapping him on the shoulder, a huge tentacle or vine type thing. Ash immediately orders Pikachu to use Thunder Shock on the vine, but Misty's like, "Yo, no, if you do an electric attack so close to all this water in the sewer, then it could create a reaction that would shock all of us." And Ash is like, "Oh, you're right," and decides to send out his Bulbasaur instead, although Bulbasaur's Razor Leaf ends up being useless, as the vine simply deflects it and grabs Bulbasaur, pulling him down into the water. Ash immediately has instincts to dive down and save Bulbasaur, but Tracy and Misty grab him by the arms, and Tracy reminds him that if he jumped in, he would just be pulled in by the tentacle as well. Ash doesn't care though, and still tries his best to jump in, with Misty and Tracy trying their best to resist him. The group's fighting is interrupted when they spot a trail of light above them, the source of this light being the fact that Officer Jenny had arrived, opening up a manhole cover and looking down into the sewer to see Ash and the gang. How ironic, if Ash and the gang had just looked up, then they could have avoided this whole situation and saw the manhole cover. But anyways, Officer Jenny was here now, and warns Ash and the gang that the sewers were dangerous, and offers to help them up by sending down a rope. Tracy and Misty grab onto the rope and simply climb up, but not before tying Ash to the rope, so that he wouldn't try and jump back down and save Bulbasaur. Because Ash had initially refused to climb back up, despite his fear of the tentacle, solely because he wanted to save Bulbasaur. Anyways, when Ash and the gang are pulled up with the rope by Officer Jenny, she doesn't just let them go free, no. She throws them in a jail cell. Ash immediately pounds on the jail cell, as all three of the gang question why the fuck they were in jail when they had done nothing wrong. When Ash's pounding alerts Officer Jenny, and she walks into the cell, giving them permission to leave. Just then, though, it's revealed that Ash and the gang ending up in this jail cell was probably not Officer Jenny's decision to begin with, as a fat man in an orange suit walks in and demands that Ash and the gang stay in the jail cell for another week, revealing his identity as the mayor of Travitatopolis. Jenny informs the mayor, though, that despite the mayor's power, he didn't have the authority to keep Ash and the gang in a cell unjustly for a week. So the mayor then instead decides to simply insist that Ash and his friends could not tell anyone what they saw in the sewer, otherwise they would face consequences, threatening that if Ash and the gang did tell anyone about it, then he would sue them for public endangerment. Ash and the gang questioned this, like, why would they get sued for public endangerment for warning people about a creature underneath the sewer? And Ash rebutted that all he wanted to do was just save his Bulbasaur, and warn other trainers that this tentacle thing could try and take their Pokemon as well. Jenny then decides to cooperate with Ash and the gang, and reveal to them why the creature was so dangerous, and the mayor thinks that it should be kept a secret. She essentially states that Ash and the gang were not the first people to see this creature, and that there was plenty of other people who had as well. All of them being people associated with food, like a pizza delivery guy, a guy who ran a hot dog stand, and it always ended in all of their food being stolen. No other injuries. So therefore, the mayor thought that with only food being at risk, it would be more dangerous to tell the public about the creature, as it could incite a mass panic. The reason for this being that since there was almost 500 miles worth of sewer under the city, and over 5,000 manholes that you could potentially check, it would be almost impossible for anyone to successfully capture the creature. So it would just leave everyone permanently scared, unable to do anything. So essentially, the mayor believed that telling the town of the creature would make things more dangerous. He also stated a more selfish reason for not wanting to tell the public, though, which was that if word got out of a creature underground that the mayor wasn't able to deal with, then that could result in the mayor losing the upcoming election, which was in another week. That's why he wanted Ash and the gang to stay in the cell for another week, so that they wouldn't ruin his chances of re-election. Just then, Nurse Joy busts into the room, telling the mayor that she had heard rumors of a plan that he had to get rid of the creature and heavily disapproved of it. Ash and the gang questioned Nurse Joy what this plan was, and she revealed that the mayor essentially planned to go into the sewers with a SWAT team and murder the creature, instead of capturing it and potentially studying what it was. Obviously, Nurse Joy was against this, as being a healer, she didn't think you should harm any creature, regardless of if they've harmed anyone in the past. The mayor nonchalantly responds that he was the mayor, so he could essentially do anything he wanted, but Ash and the gang agree with Nurse Joy, reasoning with the mayor that the creature could be an entirely new species of Pokemon that he would entirely wipe out if he killed. The mayor then changes his rebuttal to the fact that it was all just rumors. Nurse Joy had no proof that this was actually what his plan was. Jenny simply informs him that if this was truly his plan, then it was illegal, and he could also get in trouble for not telling the police about his plan, despite being the mayor. The mayor then changes his rebuttal back to his original one, being that with him being the mayor, he could do whatever he wanted, and he didn't need the police force's permission. He then storms out, implying that this was in fact his plan. Ash and the gang then go to the Pokemon Center with Nurse Joy to use one of its computers to call Professor Oak and inform him of the creature to see what he thought it was, and he agreed that yes, it could definitely be a new species of Pokemon, or a Pokemon that has undergone some sort of mutation, and therefore it shouldn't be killed, but instead studied. Ash and the gang then asked the professor what he thought they should do to try and stop the mayor, and the professor just rebutted that you guys are the protagonists, you guys will figure it out. However, Nurse Joy denied this, as she revealed that the mayor's primary goal was to get re-elected, right? And that's all he fucking cared about. So if the creature was putting his re-election in danger, he would do everything in his power to kill the creature no matter what. Ash and the gang don't initially believe Nurse Joy that the mayor wanted to get reelected that fucking bad, even though it was kind of obvious. I mean, the mayor seemed like a cunt. But Ash and the gang quickly believe Nurse Joy, as soon as they step outside the Pokemon Center, they see nothing but posters of the mayor, and they also see a huge statue of him in front of City Hall. The mayor was probably putting the entire town's fucking budget into his reelection campaign or something. They also see that the mayor had even designed himself a logo to give himself more of a chance to get reelected. This leads Ash and the gang to believe that, yeah, the mayor probably was going to kill the creature after all, and Ash realizes that this could harm his Bulbasaur in the process if the creature was still nearby Bulbasaur. So, Ash is like, yo, we need to go back into the sewer and save Bulbasaur right now, guys. Before they can make their way down the sewer, though, their suspicions are actually 100% solidified, as they spot the mayor talking to a SWAT team. Ash and the gang hide behind a nearby building to eavesdrop, and it's confirmed that, yes, the mayor did plan to kill the creature. He then has his SWAT team enter the sewer, which means that, since they were now in there, they were blocking the entrance, since Ash and the gang wouldn't be able to get in without being spotted. So, they managed to find Nurse Joy and ask her, being a resident of the town, if there was any other ways that she knew about to get into the sewer. And she's like, yeah, of course there is. The mayor said that there was like 500 different manhole covers, and there's even a way to get in that doesn't involve a manhole cover. She leads them to this entrance, being a side reservoir, but unfortunately, Ash isn't able to get up in it, as he just slides down the side, not being able to reach it, as it was too high up. Thankfully, with the help of boosting each other, they were able to get into the sewer. Meanwhile, Team Rocket was also still in the sewer, complaining about how far they had walked and how hungry they were. As they continued to search for a way out, Meowth heard the same bell sound that Ash heard earlier, and then proceeds to feel some tickling, believing that it was Jessie and James, but it wasn't. It was in fact the same tentacle belonging to the creature. Team Rocket immediately starts running away from the creature, but eventually they run out of energy, forcing them to stop. However, when they do, believing that they were finally safe, a flashlight shines on them out of nowhere, and they hear footsteps. This leads them to believe that there was yet another creature involved, and they begin running yet again, with James sending out his wheezing to use smokescreen in an attempt to make whoever this figure was go blind. As Team Rocket run away screaming in fear, it's revealed that the figure who was shining the flashlight on them was Ash and the gang, who were looking for Bulbasaur. They hadn't even noticed Team Rocket, and now were simply questioning where the fuck that random-ass smoke came from as they coughed to it. Tracy suggests, correctly, that the smoke could have came from Team Rocket, as, they always had Weezing use his smokescreen attack. But his suggestion is quickly interrupted by Misty's screaming. Misty was screaming because when the smoke had cleared, it had revealed to her that she had lost Togepi in all of the action. Thankfully, Misty immediately spots it though, walking towards the water, and she's able to grab it before Togepi falls in. However, she then looks back and sees why Tracy and Ash didn't run with her, as they were pointing at something in fear. They were pointing at the tentacle, which had since rised up out of the water and proceeded to grab Togepi from Misty's hands, dragging it back in with it. To make matters worse, the creature didn't just pull in Togepi, but it pulled in Misty as well, as Misty refused to let go of Togepi. This leads Ash to send out his Muck, which he had since gotten after he talked to Professor Oak back at the computer, and he instructs Muck to help find Misty. It agrees, but not before smothering Ash in happiness, just as it did to Oak all the time. Meanwhile, back with Team Rocket, due to all the running that they had been doing, they were extremely tired and hungry, and had fallen to the ground, unable to run any further. They then hear the creature again, though, and they're like, well, we still don't want to run, so let's try something different. And they proceed to mess around with their hair, and James makes a scary face putting Meowth on his head to essentially try and freak out the creature with their ugly looks. But when they walk forward to confront the creature, it's revealed that they did not hear the creature, but instead the mayor's SWAT team, who instantly look at Team Rocket and, due to their hideous looks, believe that they are the creature. So they get in contact with the mayor and ask them what they should do about it, and the mayor replies that they should shoot it with their putty guns. So that's what the SWAT team does. No, they don't shoot them with bullets, but putty. This is still enough to send Team Rocket running, despite their tiredness. Meanwhile, back with Ash and the gang, Ash has been using Muck to help him find Misty, since Muck was such an expert with sewers and everything. But Ash gets disappointed, as Muck only leads them to a dead end in the sewer. However, Muck clarifies by pointing to the water that they weren't actually at a dead end, because the sewer's path continued in the water. So, Tracy and Ash decide to jump in and swim through the water until they surface above ground. However, right as they surface, the creature shows up from behind and knocks Ash and Tracy out, much to their fright. Meanwhile, the SWAT team had come back up from the sewer to report what had happened with Team Rocket to the mayor. They informed him that Team Rocket was all they could find, instead of the creature that matched the mayor's description. This leads the squad leader and the mayor to come to the conclusion that there may be more than one creature in the sewer, believing that Team Rocket were actually other creatures, and this leads the mayor to order that every single entrance in the city be barricaded with cement so that no one could enter the sewers. So you're able to do that, but yet you're not able to look in every manhole cover to find the creature? Like, what? That makes no sense. You're still going to every manhole cover. Meanwhile, back with Ash, he comes to, and it's revealed that the creature had dragged him back into the sewer and put him in the same place where Misty and Togepi and now everyone else was as well, including Tracy. And Ash's Bulbasaur! Extremely happy to be reunited with Bulbasaur, he hugs him, but then he feels the tentacle touch him yet again, believing initially that it was Bulbasaur's vine, and it was in fact a Bulbasaur vine, but it was not his Bulbasaur, a different Bulbasaur, which Tracy noticed when he shined a flashlight on it. That's right, all this time, the creature was not a new species, but rather just a Bulbasaur. That was kind of large, I will admit, and the tentacles were not tentacles, but rather Bulbasaur vines. Ash then questions why the Bulbasaur was down there, and why it had been down there for so long, and also wonders how the sound of the bell was related to the creature. Ash and Tracy take a closer examination at the Bulbasaur, and it's then that Tracy spots the source of the bell sounds. It was the Bulbasaur's collar. When they take an even closer look at the collar, they see that it has the mayor's logo on it, revealing that the mayor likely had a connection to this Bulbasaur. Speaking of the mayor, he was currently in his office being scolded by Nurse Joy, who had heard of the mayor's plan to seal off all of the entrances to the sewer with cement. The mayor rebutted that sealing off all the entrances to the sewer was necessary to protect the city from the creature, but Nurse Joy then informed him that Ash and the gang had gone down to the sewer, so now that meant that they would be trapped there. The mayor replied that that wasn't his problem, as he had warned Ash and the gang not to go down there, and claims that he would remove the blockages to the sewers once the election was over, and he had already secured his place as mayor once again, because he didn't care about the people's safety after he was elected. Just like your typical mayor. Nurse Joy counters that the election still wasn't for another week, so that meant Ash and the gang would be trapped in the sewers for a whole week, but the mayor obviously doesn't care about this. He cares so little that he decides to go back to his house and relax in the bathtub. Unfortunately for him, though, Ash and the gang had come across one of the blocked-off exits to the sewer and proceeded to have the large Bulbasaur use its Vine Whip on it to destroy the cement blockage, allowing Ash and the gang to escape from the sewer, but a whole bunch of water to escape from the sewer as well. And in the mayor's case, this water rushes up from the ground, causing an earthquake and sending him flying into the air along with his bathtub. The water then rushes out of the mayor's bathroom and begins to soak the rest of the city, including the mayor's beautiful city hall that he loves so much. The mayor then falls to the ground with his bathtub, with Ash and the gang standing right in front of him, and immediately questioning him on if he knew anything about the Bulbasaur, due to his symbol being on its collar. The mayor instantly recognizes the collar, and therefore determines that the Bulbasaur must have been his, as he reveals that he once had a Bulbasaur, but abandoned it because he was mad that it wouldn't evolve, so he just left it high and dry in the sewers. Back when he did this, the Bulbasaur didn't care because he loved him so much, and even now, as he revealed this, the Bulbasaur still didn't care, and was just happy to see its old owner again, so it lifted him up with its Vine Whip in excitement, thinking that that would please the mayor, and the mayor would then ask for Bulbasaur back. However, the mayor was not pleased to be lifted into the air, especially since he was in nothing but his bath towel. So now all the townsfolk walking around the city could now see their mayor in nothing but a bath towel, much to his embarrassment. Ash and the gang see that the Bulbasaur was still loyal to the mayor, even after the mayor had willingly abandoned it, and demand that the mayor apologize to the Bulbasaur and take him back. However, the mayor, obviously in a bad mood due to his embarrassment, instead orders his SWAT team to attack his Bulbasaur. Damn, what the hell? Good thing they only have putty guns, huh? Just kidding, they had actual guns this time, but thankfully, Ash is able to intervene by commanding Pikachu to use Thunderbolt, which shocks them, and then he has his Bulbasaur use Vine Whip, which sends the SWAT team flying away. Now without his SWAT team, the mayor was desperate, so he tried his best to apologize to his Bulbasaur. But, thankfully, his Bulbasaur realized that the apology was insincere and proceeded to use his Vine Whip to send the mayor flying directly into his statue, destroying it and ruining his reputation even more, to the point where he would not be re-elected. Let's go! With the mayor now defeated and hopefully in jail, Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny thank Ash and the gang for all of their help. And Nurse Joy also reveals that she would keep the Bulbasaur safe at the Pokemon Center until she could find it a new home. Ash then takes the opportunity to question Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny on if they knew where Trovita Island was, because he just wanted to get to his third gym battle by this point. Unfortunately for him, though, Nurse Joy pointed to an island that was still far in the distance. Thankfully, Officer Jenny reveals that there was a ferry that you could take to the island, so Ash and the gang wouldn't have to spend forever surfing across Lapras. She then offers to drive Ash and the gang over to the town's pier so that they could quickly board the ferry, and Ash and the gang thank her and accept. The episode then ends with one last scene from Team Rocket, who are still trapped in the sewer. Fortunately for them, they managed to find an exit, being the entrance that Nurse Joy had showed Ash and the gang, but they noticed that the exit was blocked off by bars, so they were still trapped. They screamed out in anger, but then Jessie sneezed, and somehow her sneeze was so powerful that it was able to break the bars, setting them free from the sewer. Damn, that's a powerful fucking sneeze.